whatever over their face.
That gator, I've seen a lot of people wear. I think that's like fairly standard military or police thing too. Especially if they tear gas and
Police,
shit.
not really. I mean, like, just, like, not just, like, on patrol or anything, like, generally not, no, so.
Yeah, I definitely know that, like, if they're worried about, like, pepper spray or tear gas involved, it's not surprising they have a gator of some kind. No, Cal, welcome in. We're starting off a little slow today. People moving in slowly here today. There's non-fun. And we'll wait for iCal. He says he's going to be here soon.
Oh, good. Who else is going to be here? Anybody else, or just?
Maybe one more. Let's join a VC. We'll start shortly. Non-fun, how you doing today? How was your vacation or trip or whatever?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I had fun. It was mostly enjoyable. I don't like being outside though. That's lame.
Yeah, you don't like being outside? I would have never guessed. Could have never told you that one. Any cool, exciting stories for you want to share with the class before we get into excitement stuff?
Yeah, I told a lot of people about the Shrimp Welfare Project, which is the most effective charity, and all you guys should go donate to the Shrimp Welfare Project.
This dude is out here reading college-level econ books like he looks smart and fucking hanging out in the shade like a loser. I saw you on the beach with a shirt on. You didn't go in the water.
I got a little wet.
I wasn't talking about the lube that was put on you.
Well, you know, I've been wanting to bring this up to you, Tyler.
And you didn't invite me? Darn.
Since you got the right idea, I wanted to bring this up to you, Tyler. Me and my friend Mel were sitting here, and you posted something, and she was at my house, and she saw you, like, post in the Discord, and I'm like, this motherfucker is in, like, I don't know, Thailand, Bangkok, or some other bullshit, and he's on here at fucking whatever time zone they're in, debate broing us as he says he gets ready for the beach, or he said I'm in between shit to do tonight. I'm like a killer. She was like, let me tell you something. I know I don't particularly like debate, but if I was over there in any of these places, the last thing I'm doing is getting in politics debates while I'm fucking out getting ready to go out. I was like, yeah, me getting ready to go out, I think is a lot different than what his getting ready to go out.
You say that, but go out to a country where nobody speaks your language, you're gonna be like, damn, I wish I had someone to fucking talk to.
Nah.
So, like, I would jump on, and I wouldn't get in panels or anything like that. I was just sitting in people's chat for like a half an hour until my internet cut out. At certain points, I was waiting for, like, food to be done, and I don't understand the words coming out of the TV box or the radio box or anything. So, like, the only communication I had with English speakers was Discord. So, that's kind of why. And it was the Philippines also. I was in Cagayan.
Yeah. They speak English and Spanish over there, bro, too, bro. You know that, right? A lot of it. You could have found.
Nah, they don't speak much of either. It's Bisaya, Tagalan, and a few other languages. They have 140.
I'll be back in 1 second.
No problem.
English is probably the most popular foreign language, but not even close to the most popular language. People don't speak it. Just look at you confused.
One of my cousins lives in Manila.
Manila's the biggest city. Yeah, it's like cleaner Atlanta. It's nice as fuck.
That's not a very high bar if you've been to Atlanta. Like
Atlanta's
the strip clubs are nice. Otherwise, honestly, this is a sad thing. This is a sad statement. The nicest, cleanest thing in Atlanta are the strip clubs. That is a true statement. I don't know why that is, but Hot Atlanta is a real thing.
But I think the whole thing is the story is.
Mm-hmm. Who saw the content nuke round 2 today? I thought that was pretty funny.
I watched the stream after too.
I haven't watched it yet.
Man, I gotta say, I've never been a huge Ethan Klein fan. Never had any desire to watch his content. After watching that 20 minutes today, I might just start watching his content on principle that was such a good fucking troll. That shit is fucking hilarious. I've been cracking up all day about it.
It's good, but it's not consistently that good. Like, if you watch the 3-hour stream where he kind of recapped it and talked about all that shit, you're gonna see it's just not nearly as entertaining as a really well put together video that took him like 3 months to make that 20-minute video.
All right.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
pretty
just
funny.
happy he's going after the fucking terrorist
Well,
supporter. Israel!
Yeah, no, we got this is actually perfect. Well, I got welcome in. I was just texting Kel today, and I was telling her.
He's talking about you.
I was saying Ethan basically. I'd had this beef with like Resi this week apparently, and then I kind of already had some issue with some other drama streamers, and I was and then Kel here, she's new from the drama world. I was like, Ethan Klein just set off the nuke on the restart of the war between the politics people and the drama people. I was like, that's gonna be highly
Just
entertaining.
now? Bro,
Yeah.
where have you been?
Earlier today, he restarted it. It's back.
Bro, it's been. I've heard nothing but Ethan Hassan, Ethan Hassan.
Well,
Ethan
nah,
Hassan.
this is now. It's like now it's spreading. People like see they're stealing our fucking shows by watching our shit and reacting. We need to go after all of them. Now people are taking this as the rallying cry, all over my fucking shit. Are you streaming as well, non-fawn? Let me get you in here.
I am, yeah.
All right, and I will send Kel an invite as well, and then we'll get started. Ika, how you doing today? You
Pretty
done?
good, how are you?
Doing great. Just got back. Yeah, this was my last day of debate camp.
Yeah.
So I've got a new one next week, but the last day of the big. This was the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you learn them real good, lot? They learned some new tactics.
Yeah, they wrote. I think I co-wrote 15 oratories.
15, huh?
15 10-minute oratories, which take weeks to do each one. So yeah, it was exhausting.
It's a lot.
Lots of hooks and metaphors and themes and okay, it's done.
All right.
You don't call them hooks anymore. They're sex workers.
I
No,
see.
you're right. They don't call them hooks anymore. They call them AGDs, attention getting devices. But I still call them hooks. Damn it!
Wait, why did they change it?
I don't know. But they're called attention getting devices now, so AGDs. But I still call them hooks. I still call the transition a bridge. I'm old fashioned that way.
Well, so it looks like my righties have bailed on me tonight. That's okay.
Yeah, seriously, where are they? I'm sad.
I know. It's fine. I might have to be a little less moderator today than I anticipated, but we'll
Yep,
see how that goes.
So.
Why
Yeah.
don't you call
Otherwise,
him?
it'll be a
Call him.
circle jerk.
Nah, don't worry.
Oh.
I'll fight everybody if I have to. Let's start us off here, and I already texted a couple backup righties, and
No, call him. It's funnier.
listen, drama brain, calm down. We ain't
Call
calm.
them live. Call them live. Call Pentuple. If you're listening, you're a straight up bitch.
Yeah,
Yeah, where the fuck is
Running
he?
from the debate in real time, bro.
I was
Yeah,
coming
where
to
the fuck
break
is
you in half, boy.
Yeah, that's right. Tell him we're gonna take you out behind a woodshed, Pentuple. He'll learn you about that Georgia hospitality. All right, yeah, but we'll start us off. It looks like Cash Patel came out to Congress with a bunch of paperwork saying that China was trying to do election interference. All right, I know we don't have enough evidence yet to say January 6th was justified, but is there a case potentially where January 6th could be justified? Because I got to tell you, as a conservative, all I ever hear about in any panel, anytime political violence comes up, is January 6th. So, would this turn things on the head? Is there a level of evidence that Democrats or lefties would accept that would make it, a reasonable response? Or is there no chance that ever happening? We'll start with Tyler.
I read the article. I think Grassley has a bit more integrity than Cash Patel in terms of partisanship. I go with if Grassley sees a reason to have an investigation because there was some sort of obstruction in the process or there wasn't a full out investigation, then okay, maybe I'll look into it, but doubtful. And I highly the evidence offered was an out of context number of 20,000. How many fake IDs are in the United States that cause arrests every year? I need more context, more information to show that this was an abnormal amount and things of that nature. And even if I need to see it was actually effective in elections, and none of that was in the article. It just sounds like another Gish Gallop from the insurrectionists and the treasonous people who wanted to usurp an election from the rightful winner, where you should be happy he won because that inflation was going to make Trump look bad. It made Biden look worse. So at the end of the day, I think it's stupid. And as far as who's going to believe it, the amount of evidence it would take to convince, your normal left of center person that supports Israel and basically uses common sense and facts to come to their conclusion. Just enough to prove it. But anyone else on the left, like if you think that, Palestine's in the right or something like that, there's no amount of facts that are ever going to change your mind. You're already showing that you don't care about them. So it is what it is.
All right. Thank you so much. No, Testy, I haven't got my signed book from the QAnon shaman yet, despite being a chapter president of his fan club. It's bullshit. All right, go ahead to iCal.
Well, I'm going to answer your second question because I think it's one that I've asked and answered a long time ago, multiple times, and that is, if the election was actually stolen, and I agree with Tyler that this is nothing, like this can't be true. There's no evidence for it. But if it were true that the election were stolen, by the way, this is one of the reasons why it's weird to me that people who believe this say that it's not an insurrection. Because if it were true, insurrection would be justified and insurrection would be called for. In fact, the country was founded on an insurrection against the UK. There's nothing wrong with an insurrection if the government is itself illegitimate. So yes, of course, if it were true, and if Democrats and Americans and the government were colluding with China to create a bunch of fake votes based on false IDs, then yeah, that would be cause for an insurrection.
All right.
But it didn't happen.
Okay. Thank you so much. Katya.
Okay, I actually have a statement because I thought they were going to be like more right wingers here. Unfortunately, they're not. But you know what? I wrote this, so I'm gonna go ahead and read it again. Anyways, so yeah, after 4 years of asking questions about the outcome of the 2020 election, Republicans are seemingly desperate for answers, at least the ones that they would like to hear. The allegation from Kash Patel's FBI is no more than an allegation. Not even an allegation of outcome determinant fraud or of election fraud in general. We're talking about an allegation that Chinese operatives tried to smuggle in fraudulent driver's licenses and were stopped and had the licenses confiscated. That from an FBI headed by a dude that literally authored a children's book about the 2020 fake election narrative called The Plot Against the King. Let's be serious here. And this is, of course, supposed to justify an attempt to subvert our electoral process, using a plan about which the creator, John Eastman, believed that he would lose 9-0 in the Supreme Court. And also based on a narrative espoused by Fox News, whose personnel said behind the scenes that it was not the truth. They were grasping at straws then, and they clearly are still trying. Let's be real, sometimes you lose. Republicans have been saying it to me since November, so, I don't think they got the memo back in 2020, but they should really listen to what they're saying. You're probably going to hear at least from Gibbs, but what if it's confirmed, but what if it did happen, but what if it's all real? At least once, probably multiple times. But as far as I'm concerned, unless clairvoyance or a time machine is involved, it has no bearing.
That's good. I'm glad you covered two things that might happen, which is clairvoyance and time machine. As we know, I am the prophet, the political prophet specifically, so we might have those predictions. I don't know. Non-fun.
I guess the one thing I'll add is there is a procedure for rejecting electoral votes in the Electoral Count Act. If you genuinely thought the election was stolen, why couldn't you, get people in the House of Representatives and senators to object to the electoral votes in accordance to the Electoral Count Act? Why are we trying to justify using Pence to do this insane, illegal plan that is obviously absurd? I don't think retroactive evidence that the 2020 election was stolen can justify trying to break the Electoral Count Act. At best, you can maybe claim they should have objected to the vote in accordance with the Electoral Count Act.
All right, thank you so much, Non-fun. All right, Kel, now that we got hopefully your audio fixed there, and now that you don't look like you're hiding from the Nazis in a video here, so with the black and white. How are you today? What do you got going on? What are your thoughts?
Is this not the guy that's always in black and white? Am I mistaken? It was supposed to be.
Yeah.
In comedy, we call that a callback.
Yeah, you are mistaken.
Oh, sorry, just another old guy with a beard. My bad.
There's
one guy that always has like a black and white cape on.
Well, first of all, I know it wasn't iCal because iCal is like you and has as many tech struggles as possible. So there's no way he's over here in black and white. But you go ahead, Cal. What do you think?
I know you guys come from my riveting political takes, okay? The expert analysis. All I was gonna say is that I don't know if you guys fucking starting my sophomore year, dude. Like, have you guys not bought like fake IDs online? There's like a million websites that'll do it for like freaking $60. I'm like, I've had at least 4 probably through my time, like losing that. And I'm not saying they're good. They're not all good. There was one that got freaking taken when I was out with my coworkers one time. Anyways, long story short, what we should be concerned with is like, oh, the DMV printed a bunch of fucking like, unless it's because what is like fake licenses mean? Exactly what you were saying earlier. So, yeah, that could be. I mean, who hasn't like? I've heard people. I mean, not. I don't want to say that, but I'm like, my friend is like of a different ethnicity, and like people have talked about like using their sister's licenses and stuff. Like shit. Like if we're talking about fraud like that, I don't know.
All right, thank you so much. We'll get into it. Yeah, so I will say on the fake ID thing, you can also buy a dead person's ID and social security card for about $75 in the black market. I know that because some people I work with in my lifetime have been about illegal aliens, and I'm very sympathetic to their plight, but they got to go, right? That's kind of been my argument for a long time. But a lot of it, this just really goes to show how big of a problem the fake IDs thing is, I think. So I guess let's just move along here. Is there a standard of evidence y'all would accept from like a Trump administration that would prove definitively that there was a steal? What, like, do y'all have any thoughts on this? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if they can prove that this is like an abnormal amount of fake IDs, they were from China, and that any of them, let's say, enough to swing any state, I mean, not even swing it, just have a comparable large amount of votes that were registered and used these fake IDs would be enough for me to say it was probably a problem, and the FBI didn't investigate it enough. But I trust Grassley, who was the guy that led the vote against Trump's emergency tariffs against Canada to shut them down on Trump. He's shown over the years he has at least some moral fibers to him. Maybe not like the most principled person in the world, but if he sees something there worth looking into, I'll look into it. He seems more trustworthy than Kash Patel. But I need to see some meat, and that would be the meat is like a couple thousand voters in one state using these Chinese idiots.
Just real quick, none of us clarified before like diving into it. You mentioned that you had read the article. I'm pretty sure like it's been all over everyone's feed. But does someone want to just like clarify like what happened that we're like kind of talking about this again? That kind of reignited the conversation.
Yeah, sure. Sure. I mean, what happened is Kash Patel showed up to Congress with an alleged plot by the CCP to like come in and influence the United States election in 2020 in favor of Biden, and they allegedly had they were going to make fake driver's licenses and maybe some other stuff, depending on which news article I've read, trying to get these people in here, like, or to have like fake voters like for Biden. I'm not really clear on which one that is, or both. The one thing that has bothered me quite a bit about this is people like, oh well, they haven't found anything. And it looks like the extent which the FBI took any steps, if any at all, is not really clear. It might have been like, this is kind of a concern if the government knew about it and did nothing. That kind of speaks to a lot of what the Trumpers were saying.
Wait, but haven't you heard those recordings of Trump literally like that where he's like, oh yeah, just we're all gonna act like we won, and even if it doesn't win in this like swing state, like bro, there's been so much shit that came out on the opposite end too. Like we could do this all day. Like welcome to politics. This is like all it is, huh?
Sure.
I'm like,
well, yeah,
this was his FBI. This was his FBI that didn't investigate. What were they asleep? Like, what happened?
What do you mean? How would they investigate if he was out of office in 2021?
They investigated. You said that this happened prior to the 2020 election, where they tried to get in with IDs because, like, you can't vote like back in time. So, like, it would have had to come in like before the 2020 election. Therefore, that would be under Trump's first term.
I mean, sure, I guess if they didn't know. I mean, I guess the argument that the Trump administration is making is they thought as far as they didn't have any evidence, and then they came back and now they're finding some. I've said for a while there's been a few suspicious ones, like the Connecticut mayor. That one was the one where we have the videos of them literally stuffing the ballot box, and and they get elected in the runoff, and now there's like a whole bunch of people being on trial for it. And I've always kind of been like a smoke to this fire. Now, iTown have argued about, though, old Ken Paxton here in Texas trying to find stuff and offering up rewards and nothing coming up. I'm just kind of curious.
No, stuff did come up. Stuff did come up. Pennsylvania found 3. 3 of them. The problem was he didn't want to pay out. Paxton wanted to pay out because they were all Trump voters.
Okay, that's fair, I guess. But I mean, my point is, I feel like
that's like a completely unbiased retelling of it, and we're gonna just brush over it. Continue. Yes. They didn't want to pay out to Trump voters. Totally. discriminated. The most highly persecuted group.
Well, to
of
be
them all.
fair, you know who Ken Paxton is. He's a corrupt piece of shit here in Texas that basically lives off his thing. So wouldn't surprise me that corrupt man does especially corrupt shit and doesn't pay people out for evidence against his own side. I'll say that. That's
It was,
Free Daddy Newsom. Free Daddy Newsom.
By the way,
True.
Fetterman found the 3 Trump voters who fraudulently voted for Trump, and he demanded that he be paid the bounty that he was demanding, and he actually sued and won in court, so he did get paid out.
I'm
So
just
what do you
seeing,
think about?
What?
No, just kidding.
I'm just seeing shades of
Kidding.
Russiagate here, where like all the left was screaming Russia, collusion, and then this seems a lot more damning. It seems like China was doing stuff and our FBI didn't do anything, and we're just like scratching
Well,
the
you're
dirty
missing
little
a
thing.
word there.
Well,
Russia trying to flip the election is one thing. Russia collusion meant that Trump was cooperating with Russia in that regard. That's the 2 different things.
Well, CNN already admitted.
He had
CNN already
2
admitted
people
that.
arrested.
If this is like Russia collusion, then you would have, because so far nothing you've read or sent to us has accused the Democrats of doing anything.
Oh well,
They're
CNN
accusing
Jake Tapper
literally-
did.
So even this
literally
were
all we
true-
have.
even if this were a true story and they were trying to flip the election, it still wouldn't be collusion.
Well, no. Russia colluded to interfere in our elections. It just had nothing to do with the Trump administration and her campaign. So they
Well,
still
no.
colluded.
Yeah,
They
no,
still-
the collusion,
Right.
accusation was that they colluded with Trump, and or colluded with the Trump campaign. Specifically, the thing that sticks the most is Roger Stone, because he was the go-between. But at any rate, this isn't the same, because there's no Democratic
Well,
go-between.
Well, that's
being
not
accused
true.
of
That's
doing
not
this.
true. There is a Democratic go-between that was accused. It's Hunter Biden with the Ukraine scandal and with Chinese interest involved. That was the accusation.
Well, you
from the
buried the
Republicans.
lead.
You're building
I know.
a giant bridge between these 2
am
things. Like, it's
building
going
it.
to
Listen,
collapse.
Jake Tapper went on
Okay.
live TV on CNN and said, "Yes, we know that Trump was now right about the Hunter Biden thing." I feel like
Well,
this in conjunction with the 2.
What did
Hunter-
he
Hold
say?
on. Hunter Biden brought in the fake IDs.
No, he
That's
got
the
rich
collusion
and
that
paid
you're-
by the Chinese and the
He was
Ukraine.
there.
This
No,
seems like
what
it's
he's talking
not
about-
a far
You're
step from the
skipping a
both.
few
Oh
steps
yeah,
here.
hold on. What you're talking about is CEFC. This is the investment firm, the Chinese investment firm that Xi Jinping's nephew and Hunter Biden co-owned together. That Hunter and Jim Biden weren't taking a salary from, and then as soon as Joe Biden left office, they got their salaries paid to them in full, and Joe Biden got a board
Yeah,
seat.
but
on.
what's that got to
That
do
has
with
nothing
the
to
fake
do. That's what I'm saying. There's
Yeah.
nothing to do with the IDs right now. CEFC
Right.
was an investment firm.
Right.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
but
saying.
Well,
There's
hold
no
on. Isn't
collusion.
every company owned by the state in China?
What?
Isn't every
What?
company
Not
owned by the state in China?
necessarily.
Yeah, for the most part, they have like a lease for about a time, then China takes over.
that's great. So
can-
we need to build some pillars on this bridge. Like, it's collapsing in the middle.
It seems like
Yeah.
it's very obvious to a lot of people, not me particularly. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. However, the conspiracy theory
Oh, that's who it's obvious to, yes.
that a lot of people are saying, arguably on the right, that hey, these 2 are connected. We know that we have seen in Jake Tapper going on record say we know that they got paid, they got rich from it. We know now that China was trying to get Biden elected. It seems like, hey, they're trying to, at least Hunter Biden's trying to, hey, work this out for Joe Biden for their political and financial interests. China helping us get, a few tens of thousands extra votes in key areas. Hey, totally not connected whenever the nephew of Xi Jinping is over
Right.
here
So that means
working with Hunter.
China owns
I need to-
Tesla, right? Because they've got the big gigafactory there, right? And
Oh,
since
what?
China owns Tesla, and
Oh,
Elon
Tesla.
Musk, I'm just using the same logic, and Elon Musk, worked for Trump, so that means Trump was colluding with China.
How are those remotely the same? Like what? Like what? They're not
Because
remotely the
you
same
were
at all.
saying that because the government owns everything.
Wait, hold on.
everything
When
that's
did the
not
Tesla
government is
factory get
connected.
built there?
What?
When did the Tesla factory get built there?
I don't know, 10, 15 years ago?
10, 15 years ago. And so
Yeah.
the Tesla factory that's been there 10, 15 years ago, and they happen with Elon, who happens to have Chinese, interests with his Teslas, the same as Hunter Biden directly doing pay for play
Hold on.
with
Tesla
Biden.
also signed a document pledging to support socialist ideals. Nobody in the Democratic Party signed a document to that effect.
I think AOC probably has signed something like that, working with
She
the
might be
DA.
willing to, but I don't think she has. Not that I'm aware of.
They don't make you sign like, you don't have to sign a document. Like, I never signed a document, when I went to that side of things.
They
There's
never
not
actually
like really
socialist.
paper.
Yeah, but you were never a DSA candidate. I would have to guess that there's some sort of,
Oh.
if you're going to take our campaign money, you have to somehow stay in line with our values in some way.
I don't think Chinese socialist ideals is part of what the DSA has
Yeah.
to send a document
Yeah,
for.
probably
Well, that's
not.
China. He just said socialist ideals. DSA members.
Well, I'll have to go and look at what the exact wording was, but it was really funny that Tesla signed that document.
Let's go to coffee here,
Here's-
Janet.
The thing is, well, you know, your bridge that you were trying to build, right, between like Hunter Biden and China and all that. It literally, number one, it has nothing to do like with each other. Like at worst, this would be a situation like, you know, the distinction that was made earlier, which was the Russia collusion with Trump versus Russia influencing our elections in some way. So the same thing technically in your world could be true with, you know, there'd be a difference between Hunter Biden going, yeah, send those votes over, send those IDs in here, or them working together and then China going, hey, this is nice. It'd be nice if these people got elected completely independently and then like trying to interfere in our election, which by the way, there's no evidence that they actually did get to, just that fake IDs or whatever IDs were stopped at the border and confiscated. So we haven't even gotten to the point of any fraud, let alone outcome determinative, let alone that election was stolen, let alone any of that. So
I mean, China is the place to get cheap plastic things made, right? So if you're
That
going
is
to make
true.
a shit ton of fake IDs for whatever reason, because you want to sell them to teenagers or whatever, you're probably going to get it made in China.
especially
we
now that
literally-
stuff has
that's
to
what I was gonna say
scan
earlier.
because
Go
like
ahead,
otherwise
Nafad.
you're
Yeah,
in
go ahead,
trouble.
Nafad. Then we'll go to
We
Tom.
literally we at this time don't have any evidence that any actual fake IDs were used, and we don't have evidence of what they were used for. We know that 20,000 fake IDs were seized, which it doesn't even say that they were from China. Now, maybe there's evidence they were from China, but the news articles
Well-
that I read never claimed that
Well,
it was even
keep in
from
mind,
China.
Nafad, would you
What would-
agree? Would you agree? Like, all right,
Probably
Nafad,
was.
let me just go to you.
They were
Nafad,
used
right?
to buy
I feel- 'cause
Four
you brought up
Locos.
this number right here, and you said we know
Okay.
these were seized, right? So, like, all right, say I caught 20,000 tons of cocaine coming into the United States.
Well, you're a very rich man then.
Well,
All right,
it-
but would you agree that there's probably more cocaine coming into
Not
the
be
United
hosting
States?
tonight if that was.
Yes, but if you could see
There
in
should be more.
Cincinnati that there were
Thank
18,000
you,
thousand kilos of cocaine.
Well, I would agree, but you would see evidence of that elsewhere too. Like you would see people on the streets using cocaine or whatever. And in this case, we would probably see, you know, people not on the voter rolls voting or whatever. And like there's been plenty of audits in the 2020 election, and we just don't really see evidence of like mass fraud almost anywhere.
Well, and also let's take a look at these IDs, right? Because not only would we have to have fake IDs with the correct seal on them for the state and everything else that would pass muster, but also they would have to have addresses, signatures, both that would correspond to the addresses and signatures that are on the voting rolls. So that when you take one of those fake IDs, and the picture would have to somewhat look like you as well on top of that, and then you hand it to somebody who then checks that address with the address that's actually registered, and then checks the signature with the signature that's on file.
All right.
So these have to be individuated
Okay.
fake IDs.
Let me just. Here's the problem
This
I'm having
level
with
of
this.
hand-holding being required is ludicrous.
Thank you for the TS. Yeah, I got the hand holding. I'll just like play the big bag of services, my friends.
Speaking for
Like
the
the
people,
service
it's
on
only
here.
because chat said it. Okay?
Yeah. So this is what I'm seeing, right? Like right now, it seems like for years, the Republicans have been alleging there's a deep state, there's collusion, right? And all these things aren't fair for the working man. Then we come and start peeling back this onion now that Trump's elected, right? We had the Hunter Biden stuff, which we know was a pay-for-play, was probably sus, especially since Biden preemptively, pardoned him on all this stuff, right? Then we see China, who's got a vested interest in keeping Biden.
sounds
Now we're seeing them bring IDs in, allegedly. And then we have this mass immigration push by the Bidens, which was already pretty suspicious, and let a lot of, like, really far out there guys argue about the great replacement. Then we see leftist cities actually allowing legal immigrants, some of them dubious legal immigrants, like, I don't know if they're really even legal kind of thing, allowing them to
Can you
vote.
hear me? Like, can I do
Yeah,
that?
we can hear you. We
that's
can hear
me?
you. Yes, we can hear you. And like allegedly, they're also sitting here going and like in these cities, and they're allowing them to vote. This seems like everything's kind of pointing at exactly what Republicans have been pointing to as this great Democratic evil strategy. And now even with more recently, we see after the what's it called? Doge has cut funding to USA. Suddenly, the Democratic Party is out. Seems like an awful out of money. Awful lot of coincidences here. At what point do we admit that we need to start looking at this more under the table? Because too many coincidences kind of sound sus. I don't believe in coincidences in my real life. Do y'all believe in coincidences here? Go ahead, Tyler.
No, it's not a coincidence at all because these are
Then go,
all
Tyler.
stories made up by the far right.
Made up.
Look,
Yeah,
They're made up.
You have
I
actual evidence.
gave you a specific objection to the thing that this topic is supposed to be about, which is those IDs. Show me that those IDs have addresses on them that match the voter ID rolls. Because if that were the case, you would have indictments tomorrow or yesterday.
He's right. At the end of the
Freaking
day,
4 years ago.
it's a fishing expedition. You're
4
asking,
years ago. Yeah.
you're asking for
This
an
is-
investigation into things where there's no proof of anything wrong. USAID being
Well, how do you get the
has-
proof?
that you have to see something.
Yeah, you have to have an
it.
investigation, right? You don't
Yeah,
just
something
you start
has
looking
to
into it,
arise.
don't you? Oh, all
There's a
right.
certain level of
Just make
proof
the
that has
fake
to be
IDs
established to start an investigation. We saw this. This is why I'm against Crossfire Hurricane, because there was not enough evidence in the databases of any of the intel agencies, and Peter Strzok was well aware of that. There was not enough evidence to open a full-scale investigation. It's in the Durham report, and he did it anyways, and that's why it's a bad thing. Unless there's a certain amount of evidence cleared, it becomes a fishing expedition. Fishing expeditions are often bad. Most of the time they're bad. I guess they're always bad to some degree, even if they turn up something good. There's a set of rules that the people in power need to follow, and one of them is you need to clear certain bars before investigations into your life can be opened by law enforcement.
This is, by the way, all
Precious.
from one relatively new confidential source, is
New.
what the FBI said. So there's not exactly.
Although, to be
yeah.
fair, I am for investigating this. I mean, it would, first of all, it'd be a big, colossal waste of time for them. So, what other bullshit thing that they could be doing instead, they wouldn't be able to do because they'd be doing this. So, yeah, let's do it. Let's full investigation on these fake IDs.
Right. And I mean, if you wanted to do like, if I wanted to like be Gibbs for a moment and do the isn't it weird, then like, couldn't we just as easily say, isn't it weird that this investigation, despite like apparently his first FBI being like asleep, this investigation starting up, and now that it's under Kash Patel, a dude that was extremely adamant about the 2020 election being stolen, like you could do one of those too, just as easily.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the guy that thinks there's something stolen would have it a high priority to investigate it, and then find something within a relatively
Investigate it.
short period of time of it starting. I mean, you don't find this at all suspicious that like there's links to the Biden administration and suddenly China is trying to slip these things in to get him elected. There's no suspicion at all on y'all's part.
Listen, they
We don't
control
even know
all
that
the
it was to
levers of government.
vote.
No,
So
it
let's
says in the
just
article that
see-
they knew it was specifically to get him elected.
So listen, they control all the levers of government right now. Anybody want to place bets on whether there'll be indictments?
I mean, no, I don't want to place bets. That's absolutely not.
All right, there you
I
go.
I mean, now if y'all want to place bets, go by all means.
I think the debate is done.
Well, I think that it's just the initial stages. I mean, I was told there was no election fraud. Then we have examples in Connecticut. We have the Trump ones. I feel like it's pretty easy to get election fraud, like all things considered, as long as we don't have voter ID. I mean,
Okay, because
this kinda seems
like expand it, indictments on anything to prove 2020 voter fraud. Not even convictions, just indictments.
well, let's move it on here. What do we think? What do we think with the area? I'm just moving on a little bit since it's a 5v1,
Yes.
and I feel like I'm not getting any ground here with any.
Yeah, where are your
these
righties?
Yeah,
Where'd they go?
they disappeared. It's okay. It's
yeah.
fine. I also just
afraid.
don't want to be as
I think they would
aggressive as
take
I
that
could
bet
be.
either.
No, I feel like some of
I
the
want you to. Come on, yell at us. Let's do it.
All
Yeah.
right, I just find this ludicrous that this line of logic, because I sit here and I come on these panels all the time, right? And I see these dramatic leaps of logic by the left, like, oh, America's owned by the Jews, bro. And like I see these other things where it's like all these wild just jumps. Yeah, bro, I saw this the other day on a panel. I was literally arguing on, I think it was Primes, and someone, and I think Doobie and Prime were arguing that America's controlled by the Jews, right? And
They're Democrats now?
wait,
You-
I mean,
yeah.
is Prime and Doobie not Democrats?
Prime is
No,
I don't know.
Prime is
no.
absolutely
He's to the
Democrat.
left.
Either.
He's the
He's
left.
to the
In
left
what
of the
world?
Democratic Party.
Prime
Yeah,
hates
and he
the
doesn't
Democrats.
support the
Oh
Democrats.
my
Hey,
god, bro, they are
hey,
absolutely
Gibbs.
Jims.
if you want to get that dishonest left winger in here, Sounsel's in chat.
I mean,
They didn't vote for Democrats, so I mean, you
Yeah.
can assign them Democrat assigned by Gibbs. That's fine,
Well,
but they
no,
didn't
if Doobie
vote
voted
for
it,
Democrats.
I don't know, but
And also,
I
when
know
you
Prime
you
did
just
not.
mean they have issues with
think he did.
APAC, right? Like they,
well,
I don't know
they're
their
not
exact
the only
positions,
ones.
but-
There's lots of Dems that are mad about Israel, right? And I hear all the time on Twitter, on here,
Oh,
there's these.
walk back.
Sure. I mean, if y'all want to say they're not Dems, I think they're Dems, but
They're not.
whatever. Okay, fine. I mean, Doobie's like a centrist authoritarian, I guess. I don't really know. But like, if we're sitting there, we're gonna go through it. I see, like, y'all can't act like we don't see giant leaps. And then when like Republicans point out some of these, I would even say less large leaps, like China providing IDs, Hunter Biden being involved with China for direct pay for play. We're seeing like Chinese influence in the South China Sea, and they're always doing all sorts of hacking and shit and trying to fight here. It's not a large leap for me to go, oh, China potentially did exactly what the people on January 6th bitched about. Like, it's stolen and used fake IDs, especially in conjunction with the mass immigration push, the Dems pushing for legal immigrants to go vote in local counties. These are not conspiracies right there. Neither one of those. We know that there was mass immigration push by the Biden. We know there was like local counties that have allowed legal immigrants to vote. We know that there was corruption, at least at a local level, for some major races like Connecticut and some others. Like, I don't see it as a huge jump to go, hey, I see smoke, there's fire, and then y'all go, nah. And then every time this happens, just like with the senility thing, I was like, oh, this is going to become bigger. I said, oh, these
When
guys are going to talk about it.
Investigators make announcements
I'm gonna have
about
to disable the
investigation
TTS on this
results
fucking
before
this
or
on
after
this
the
panel, I guess.
investigation.
But my point is with this that they come in and I see these things repeatedly, and y'all just like, nope, hand wave, just like the senility thing. I'm just told by everybody, Biden's not senile, ends up being senile. Oh, he was in charge, yada yada yada, for how many auto pins, right? I just don't see this as that big of a leap, especially if Biden's just a walking vegetable. That's
Too
something.
big
There's
of
a
a
foreign
leap
power.
to place a bet, though, right?
I mean, I don't have enough evidence. This is just, the question is, at what level
Okay,
can we
then
say?
it's a leap.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's a leap. I think it's a reasonable conclusion to come to
And it's a
based
safe
off
bet.
evidence.
You should.
Well, it's not
you
a safe
should
bet. I mean,
believe it.
I could also come to the conclusion that God is a flying spaghetti monster that hides behind the moon. If I thought about
Or that he's
enough,
alive.
yeah, if I thought about enough of the coincidences that led up to it. I mean, I just am not so. I mean, I'm not generally a conspiracy theorist in general, and thus, but I am trying to
Well,
argue from their point.
You would lose that
from
bet,
one.
right? Like you
Well,
wouldn't be
hold
able
on. Sorry, I just have to talk about one thing you said. You said, I'm sorry to interrupt you, by the way. You said that this is exactly what they were talking about with January 6th. Like, you said this a while back. This is exactly what they complained about with January 6th, was just IDs. IDs were an extremely small part of it. Like, we were mainly talking about stuff like mail-in voting and fraudulent voting machines, not illegal immigrants using
Well, those are
fake
both part of
IDs
it.
necessarily.
I mean, all three
Sorry?
are portions of it. I mean, we've all heard the Great Replacement theory, have we not? Like, we've all heard that bullshit. Yes.
Well, yeah,
We've heard about
but most
like
people on the
phrenology and
ground in
race science.
January-
What does that have to do with anything?
No,
Most
that
people on
was
the ground on January 6th were not talking about great replacement theory. They were talking about an OAN video they saw of people stuffing ballots in Georgia. Like,
I mean, it's all of them. I mean, I know people that were there, and they're all definitely online with the Great Replacement bullshit. I don't know how like we can argue these aren't like in the same overlapping Venn diagram, and like why the conservatives would like some conservatives would come to these conclusions, and then y'all just hand wave it, just like the Biden thing. Y'all told me the Biden one. Maybe I was
No,
conspiracy theorist on Biden, but all of a sudden now it's looking like maybe who really was running the country? Like, and y'all are like, oh well, there's totally no reason to wonder about this election now, and then we get this kind of thing.
Well, there wasn't before, and
No.
there's not now. I mean, right now we have literally just an allegation that they tried to bring fake IDs into the country, but were stopped by Border Patrol. And now we don't see any like outcome determinative fraud of this. We don't see tons of people with fake IDs.
voting unless they have specific addresses that match voter rolls, and yeah, that would immediately cause indictments, like instantaneously back then.
Right. Like,
I don't understand. Like a random piece of plastic, fake ID, isn't going to do anything to let people vote. It's not going to do anything. It has to match an address and a signature.
Right, and we're talking about like
how are trying to get that data anyway? And if they did, then the IDs that they confiscated would be a slam dunk prosecution. It would make a prosecutor's career.
Yeah,
right,
sure
and
would.
we're talking. when we're talking about this too, like we're talking, like a lot of the arguments people made prior to January 6th was that these Democrat places that are inviting illegal immigrant blah 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 voting is that they didn't have voter ID laws and that anybody could vote by mail without an ID. What are they using a fake ID for in that conspiracy? Like,
Well,
what do we need the ID for?
I mean, some states do require it. I mean, the other thing would be you would register to vote, with some of these paperworks. It's part of like moving
Mostly
to
the
new
ones
area.
where Biden lost.
I mean, also you move to certain areas with your fake ID and whatnot, and then you establish yourself. Oh, I'm a citizen now, and I can go with my fake stuff, and I can go register to vote with just mailing stuff in. Like that's not that hard. I don't feel like it's that big a leap.
As long as the addresses and signatures match.
All right. So in Texas, for example, how do we register to vote, ICAL?
By mail usually.
Right. And what paper do they send out? What's on that paper?
Well, they send it to you in an envelope, and inside of that envelope is a cardboard thing that has your address and information on it, and then you sign it, and then you send it back in.
You fill it out, right?
Yes.
So now, if I had a fake ID and a fake whatever, and I rented a house, and Texas sent me that information, what information would I put on that voter registration?
We could put any information on there at that point.
I would put the one that matches my fake ID, right?
Right, precisely.
And then I would be able to go vote, right? Then I'd be able to go vote because now I have backing up documentation.
Yes, that's
and
right.
residence, right?
And those fake IDs that were confiscated, if they had that address on a house that you rented in order to vote. First of all, the amount of money that it would take to rent a house in order to do one fake vote, the ROI on that is ridiculous. You're talking about you're going to pay how much? Say $2,000 in rent.
China doesn't care. Vote? China don't care. They're rich.
Wait, China's paying illegal immigrants to have a fake ID. They say you rent out.
They're already selling.
Why do we have no evidence?
They're already selling fentanyl over there. Why? I mean, why can't they do both?
You're smoking it right now. Clearly, what the fuck?
I wish I was smoking some fent. That'd be wild times. Not really. I'm not. Just kidding. Twitch. No, I'm just saying.
Well, hold on, Gibbs. I'm gonna give you an offer. All right.
All right.
You pay me $2,000, and I'll let you vote twice. But if you get caught, you're the one who goes to jail. Will you take that deal?
Wait, say that again.
You give me $2,000, and I'll give you a second vote. Okay, for $2,000, and if you get caught, you're the one who goes to jail. Is that risk analysis good enough?
I mean, here's the third factor. I'm also a legal alien who's going to get arrested if they find me anyway.
What, they came here?
So why does it matter at that point?
They can get 3 squares in jail. Is that the goal? They're hoping to get arrested so that we have to feed them.
I mean,
no, you could literally just do proof of residency change. That was my argument earlier, but I was muted. I was screaming. Duh, because you could, with most of the stuff, because as someone who's moved way too many times, my address never matches the one on my fucking ID, okay? You can literally just do proof of residency change with some mail, fake some mail, boom, you got 3 documents, boom. Thank you.
See, exactly. Sure. Prove my point right there.
How many people are doing this?
But we would have evidence.
We don't know. We're just finding out.
We're not finding anything out. This is finding out that they tried to bring fake IDs in the country but got caught. We didn't find shit out with this. What are you talking about?
We're finding it out here. Go ahead, Alpha.
There's already been so many people that looked into this. I don't know why
Who looked into it?
Trump's own team looked into it. There were, I think, the Associated Press did their audit in swing states and found 500 fraudulent votes.
And Cash Patel looked into it, right? He could have shown, oh, look, all these addresses match the voter rolls. Let's do it. Let's go arrest these people. He didn't do that. He just said vaguely that there were fake IDs, and then he stopped at that. Is it because Cash Patel hates Trump and doesn't want to prove that there was 2020 voter fraud? He's super biased?
Here's what we're gonna do. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I don't really want to die on a hill for a topic that I'm not a true believer in the cause. But so we're gonna move topics here. We got a lot of other news we can discuss. I think we can find some argument amongst y'all here. What are our thoughts on the Iran and Israel, and should the U.S. get involved, and how it relates to Ukraine? What do we think about that? Let's start with Tyler here.
Fuck yeah, finally. This war has been going on since October 7th. The 7 proxies that Iran has been funding to attack Israel, the 2 places in Palestine, West Bank and Gaza, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, groups out of Iraq are even shooting at them, and Iran themselves took shots at them. Finally, we're going after the root cause, the main funder of state-funded terrorism in the world. We're finally taking it to them. No, it's Iran. Iran gives more, and a lot of that money came from the JCPOA cough. And so, I'm more than ecstatic. This is actually somebody going and taking care of the actual issue instead of just pussyfooting around to try to keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
I would say no, but not for the reasons people think. I would say no because Israel has already won this war. It's over. They have absolutely destroyed Iran. There's really nothing we can do to make it better. They have air superiority. They own the skies over Iran, so they can bomb whatever the hell they want, and they don't need American help to do any of that. If we're going to go in and do it, it will only be because that way we can claim some of the victory, right? So at most, I think what Trump will do is fly some planes over there, drop a few bombs, maybe a bunker buster, because it's never been done before, and it would be historical or whatever, but it wouldn't be anything that Israel couldn't already have done on its own, and that'd be the only reason to do it so that we can claim some credit. But he won't do anything significant. He won't do anything like hard because if Iran responds by shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, that shuts down the world economy, and Trump won't go that far. He'll drop some bombs, he'll claim victory, and then he'll be gone. But he doesn't really have to do anything because Israel has already won this war.
Katya.
I think that for the most part, if Israel's already got this, which I tend to agree with, unless we can, prove that this is a bigger threat than that Israel doesn't pretty much have on their own, I don't see a need to put our troops in the fight, because I just we've already been dragged into enough shit. And then what? Then we kick their butt again, and then either we just let them lie there and Russia do whatever the fuck they're gonna do, or then it's another situation where we're there until kingdom come, and it doesn't do that much because occupation only really causes change if you're there for a bazillion years. And right now, with how topsy-turvy our politics are, can we guarantee that that'll happen? Probably the fuck not. So, I mean, I'm gonna go with no, probably this is not the best idea for us to personally get involved. And I see a ton of people who supported Trump who are like, yeah, because Kamala's going to bring us into war in the Middle East. Trump will never do that. He's going to create peace. Now they're like, yeah, we're going to go fight in Iran. Let's go. It's like, okay, where was that? I don't know. Good luck.
Not fun.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a case to be made for striking certain underground Iran nuclear enrichment facilities if Iran does a nothing burger response like they do a lot of times. I'm not really sure. The issue is I don't have a good mechanism for assigning probability of Iran doing a nothing burger response versus shutting down global trade or whatever. I could see a case to be made for that, but one, I haven't read too far into this, but the Iran nuclear deal seemed like a decent status quo to me, and I don't think that tearing up that deal and letting Iran continue to enrich nuclear weapons or enrich uranium the way they're doing now is
what they were doing.
I don't think that's I think Trump bears responsibility for putting us in this situation in the first place, at least partly, and secondly. I mean, I would agree with the notion. I do think Israel has has achieved a lot of the goals that they can achieve, and they might need our help to reach certain underground bunkers. But other than that, I don't see why we would necessarily need to intervene.
Kel, what do you think?
I'm gonna after immense consideration, I'm going to go ahead and plead the fifth on this one. I don't want to lose any more friends after this shit.
It'll be all right. What's the worst that could happen? This is online. You got to give your opinions. You have an opinion on whether we should invade Iran. Are you pro Ukraine? Let's just see if we can get all the ticks in here with your friends. Do you like the Ukrainians? Do you want to keep funding the Ukrainians?
Kristen Keller, just everybody.
Kel,
I
here.
mean,
Well,
I'm gonna go ahead and plead. Wait, can I phone a friend?
No.
Who are
Is
we
it a
calling?
fucking conservative? Because we could use one of those on here to bash.
Well,
Yeah,
no, I find it funny that the same people that are, well, two things have happened recently with this that make me want to do this as a topic here today. One, I found all of a sudden, just like with tariffs, the lefties understanding what economics is or trickle down economics is. I've now heard after Iran threatened the nuclear system, more liberal lefty women in my life and all my friends suddenly wondering why our border was not secure and we could have maybe have potential Iranians in here with a dirty bomb or a nuke if they could have snuck in across the border. I feel like it's really entertaining that suddenly, now these are concerns that they suddenly understand. Seems like a lot of little hypocrisy there. They now realize that y'all are now realizing an unsecure border is a problem when you have a country like Iran that sponsors all the state terrorism. Kelly, you're raising your hand.
Oh no, I was just saluting our troops. I said disavow, disavow.
Look like a
Because Iranian
like
people
an
are not
Elon Musk to
bombers.
me.
Always.
Well, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard though sponsors terrorism quite a bit. What about you, Tyler?
I don't know where this like liberal women
What?
saying that we need border
I don't know where
security
all that
because
was
there's
going.
going to be a dirty bomb across the border. I've never heard this in my life.
Well, this was
I don't know
yesterday.
where
This
this is
happened
from.
last night. They were saying that they were going to bomb us.
Who
all of a sudden-
said this?
Iran
Name
said
names.
that.
That's
Iran
weird.
said they were going to bomb us, and all of a sudden, like TikTok.
Oh, Iran is a liberal woman.
Yeah, no, and Iran said this, and TikTok went crazy with a bunch of lefties and libs that I know, all on there
Nuclear
saying,
test
"Oh my
3
god."
days ago, and it hasn't happened. So
Look,
you know.
Well, sure, but
Politically, Iran and Ukraine are allies. If you're funding one war, you should be funding the other. What we're seeing from Russia on the ropes after losing over 1 million
Wait, you
casualties.
mean Russia and Iran?
What? Yeah,
I'm
not
sorry,
Iran
yeah,
and
I'm sorry.
Ukraine. What?
I'm sorry, yeah, Russia and Iran are enemies. So what we see is Russia's lost over 1 million casualties. It doesn't necessarily mean deaths, but 1 million people are unable
Iran is their
to fight
number
the war.
one arms dealer. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're out. The fact that they couldn't supply troops to help their proxy state just to the south of them, Syria, and Syria got overrun by rebels that weren't even backed by a major world power. It was Qatar and Turkey backing those rebels up. Shows that Russia does not have the manpower to spare. We're now going after one of their biggest suppliers, one of their, I guess their competition in oil, but it's all going to China anyways for the most part. We're going in and destroying one of their best allies. So not only is it a message to Putin, like, hey, we're not fucking around, it's just the difference is Putin has nukes. So we can't do the same thing to him, obviously. We can't bully him in the same way. But if we're going around and hurting his world power on the world stage, good shit for me. Take that at fucking commie bastards.
what
I mean,
I mean,
I don't think
Texas,
anyone.
we got $76 WTI right now. You know, so we're making a little bit of money off of that. The high oil prices.
True.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anyone fundamentally disagrees with like weakening Iran. I think it's a question of, do we just like give intel to Israel and let Israel do their shit, or do we like directly intervene? But I'm also, Tyler, I'm curious, like, what is your? I'm curious what your evidence is, because I think you would probably have some that the Iran nuclear deal wasn't working or wasn't effective, or
It wasn't like, what do you mean by working? Like it delayed them from working on a nuke in their own borders for 12 years. That part of it worked. But
Yeah,
And the
I mean,
goal was
that's
10.
yeah, but also
JCPOA's goal was 10 years to delay them by 10 years, and it's
Yeah.
done it by 12 so far. So,
it did
yeah,
that well. The cost of it was significantly worse. We gave them tens of billions of dollars that we saw got directly funneled to terrorism. They also got U.S. security guarantees, which saw them moving into 3 different territories, to Syria and Iraq being the major 2 that they started taking land in. All sorts of shit that Iran got as a benefit to try to create an equalization of power in the region between Iran and Israel so that they could balance each other out and cause mutually assured destruction levels of peace without them getting a nuke. Because, again, they are 10 times bigger. So it didn't work because we basically gave them money to fund terrorism and they used it against Israel.
well, that was their own money that was unfrozen or whatever. I don't know. Do you have evidence that it was actually used for terrorism, or is that just like you assume like all Iranian money is immediately going to the Houthis or whatever? Like,
Not all of it. I would say we have a breakdown of some of it. Some of it goes to the martyr funds that they pay Palestinians to die on camera. Some of it goes to all sorts of shit. Like we saw it being funneled to terrorism. I can't tell you off the top of my head to what magnitude, to what groups or anything like that. That would take a deeper dive.
I think the burden of proof there would be to show that they wouldn't have done any of those things had they not been given that money.
They probably would have.
They just would have turned peaceful if they didn't have $10 billion.
No, they just wouldn't have as much to do it with. Like Iran potentially would have attacked Russia without Joe Biden approving their pipeline, but approving their pipeline gave them a ton more money to attack Ukraine. Fuck, I keep fucking up my nations. Russia would not have attacked Ukraine if they didn't. They still probably would have done something. It just wouldn't have been to that magnitude because they wouldn't have had that Nord Stream 2 pipeline money. So like, it doesn't say it's going to negate them. It's helping them achieve their goals by not keeping them.
By the way, I don't think it was 10 billion. I think it was 1.7 billion.
I thought it was 4 billion in cash pallet. But then there was also other sanction money he gave them as well. I think the total was 16 billion they got under Obama.
Yeah, but then you've got to look at all the sanctions that Obama slapped on them prior to that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember. Well, no question. Nobody here probably remembers it. But in 2008, there was that big debate, presidential debate, and Obama was criticized by the Republicans for saying that he would start the sanctions anyway because they said he was like playing with war or whatever. But he did, and he slapped a ton of sanctions on Iran that cost them over the intervening 4 to 5 years many billions of dollars, way more than what that cash pallet was worth. And then at the end, he returned the money that was theirs, but he ended up with his sanctions costing them far, far more than what he was giving him.
Sure.
So if you were to reverse both of those actions, like just undo the say Obama wasn't actually elected in 2008, Iran would have more money, not less.
Sure, but I mean, if we were playing that hypothetical game, we reverse the election and Mitt Romney won, they'd be no deal and them being even broker. Like, you're right that he did slap some things on them to give them the negotiating table, but at the end of the day, he took a lot of them away and gave them that money back that was used for terrorism.
And the argument by Republicans at the time was that sanctions are toothless, and there's no way, and that there's no way he'd be even able to get them to the negotiating
Sure,
table.
but their argument now is Marco Rubio, the future president of the Republican Party. When he came into office, he said, we're going to keep Iran broke again. So that was their goal, is to keep them starving for money so they can't fund their 7 terror proxies that are attacking us, 6 terror proxies they use to attack Israel with.
Listen, I'm all for regime change there because it's a terrible government, but I'll just say that we took them, like Bibi Netanyahu was in front of the United Nations.
That's a good question right there, Cal. That's a good question. Yeah. Who here, raise your hand if you're in favor of Iranian regime change?
Depends.
I mean, like, in the same way, like, I'm in favor of, like, North Korean regime change.
Sure.
Like, I'd prefer the North Korean government.
Yeah, it was just a broad question.
But
I'm not trying to gotcha nobody. I just was curious.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was possible, but there's, like, a lot of discussion to be had on if, like, any sort of good results through, like, forceful, like, regime change.
Israel said today that they're going to ignore Trump because Trump told them to not to take out the Ayatollah. And they said, fuck that. We're going to take out the Ayatollah at the first available opportunity. So, yeah.
Allegedly, they've been bombing his bunker all day, so he might be dead now. But what were you going to say?
Which
Ayatollah? You had your hand up, Kel? What were you saying?
What did we say right before this?
Who would be in favor of Iranian regime change?
Oh, yeah, no, it reminds me of, like, when lefties come on and they're like, oh, yeah, well, we need to deconstruct the system bottom from the top. Like, Ivory, like, when he argues like that, I'm like, yeah, ideally. But we need, like, implementable, applicable, yeah, like actionable things that, break downable. Okay, bye.
Right, like, yeah, and you have to have people who, like, at least some sector of the population there that is, like, that has an appetite for it, because then you get situations with, you know, like when we left fucking Afghanistan, wrong country, where shit got real and, like, the Taliban is, like, freaking everywhere, and life for individuals who they like to target, you know, namely women, as well as just the entire populace there in general, has been trash because they didn't have an appetite to maintain the changes that were existent there while we were hanging out. And without people there who are willing to go along with it, then, you know, it just becomes a boomerang effect.
Yeah, straight up.
I mean,
especially when.
Go ahead.
Ladies first.
No, you were saying so. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go, Kel.
No, we should just have a pizza party. That's what I was gonna say.
A pizza
If
party
we
with
just
a
had
red.
yeah, where the left could come together, and have like cohesive ideas, and everyone would participate. It's a callback to Ivory.
Oh yeah, to Ivory saying,
Sorry.
"Yeah, we just need to reinvent political campaigning to be more inclusive." Yeah,
and
we
having
tried that.
food and stuff. Yeah.
He took an L. I was my third win on the DCS. I'm out here crushing it these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes in the contender series. We will see.
Women, children, none shall be spared from my wrath.
But yeah, back to the Iranian subject. Yeah, I found it very interesting that recently, like we all know that Iran is the biggest state sponsor of terrorism. We've seen what they've done with the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah, and then we've had this very large unsecured border. The idea they might have agents here that could cause some kind of attack, scared some people on TikTok. I feel like, and suddenly they understood border security. Is that how y'all feel here? Are y'all not worried that this porous border could allow Iranian agents to attack on American soil in some capacity?
People on TikTok are afraid of hotel sinks. Okay, like I don't know. I think you're always gonna get some people who think that this stuff is gonna happen, but like they've had a desire to do stuff like that. They've certainly not been adverse to doing stuff like that, or at least in other nations, potentially like the US for however long. I mean, I don't know if that's even that much of a concern at this point. I don't know, if like what you're talking about like a more secure border, the way that a border would have to be secure in the way that people talk about normally, would even necessarily stop something like that, because a lot of it's talking about kicking people out who are here and then like preventing people from living here legally. I mean, anybody can get like, let's say like even a travel visa and come here and then like do some shit. Like I don't know.
Right. I don't think there's any like I'm sure technically like there's maybe like depending on like the standard for claiming asylum, there's like probably a very negligible impact on the ability of Iran to get someone through that process, but like it's got to be super fucking small. Like there's no I
But
don't
can
think
a
there's
dirty
any
bomb get asylum? That's the real question.
I was gonna say
That's
the Newcastle have asylum.
I mean, y'all are laughing, but it wouldn't be that hard to go through. I mean, we just shut down a tunnel with ventilation, with like railroad carts for like drug, massive quantities of drug in California. We find these all the time, all over Texas and Cali. Like, I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to me if an Iranian paid, cartel to sneak them in here, and they snuck the pieces in for a dirty bomb over time into the U.S. I don't think it's like even that hard or unfeasible. And y'all are kind of acting like, oh, this is just the stuff of science fiction. Which, I mean, is it really?
Well, I mean,
Well, then they could
one-
pay people to fly here on a travel visa and take the parts in their fucking whatevers, or like come here on like whatever the fuck else. Like, I mean, we're talking about. Do you think this would even be feasibly like stopped if like people were sophisticated enough to be like being able to build these things and have these plans in the first place? Most people who plan like mass violence are honestly retarded, and their plans turn out shit.
Governments have had reasons to do this to us since nuclear weapons were invented, right? 60, 70 years, whatever long it was. So the real question is it so likely that it's already happened before? Or have we like just been incredibly like miraculously lucky to have stopped every single attempt?
I mean, have we? Because I mean, September 11th happened. Were we lucky
reason
then?
is-
It depends on the order.
Wait,
and
how many
as
dirty bombs were involved in September 11th?
I mean, it's not a dirty bomb. But... Go ahead, Kel.
who knows? Gives us the conspiracy theorist, but maybe there were some.
I'm not. Hold on. It's not a conspiracy theory. I mean,
That was
hold on. I mean, then
that
again,
one.
now if I was gonna do a conspiracy theory, I'd be like, well, how did Air India fucking land on a
Jet
concrete
fuel does not
building?
melt steel beams. There had to have been at least a few dirty bombs.
Well, I mean,
the
you
nuke will,
hold on. I mean, if we were going to do that conspiracy theory, I'd be like, well, how did the 747 Air India crash into a building and the building not get demolished with the, at the same kind of speed as whatever they did in the 9/11, for like a much weaker style of building? I'd be asking that kind of question. Makes you wonder. But
it didn't have a dirty bomb in it.
I didn't have a dirty bomb in it. Is the answer. But like but y'all are sitting here. I get people going, oh, these hypotheticals. I mean, are you like? Didn't we even have one in 2023, like an Iranian spy ring broken up with like some of Biden's people getting in charge
In
with it?
2021, contributed. Look, in 2021, Iran continued providing weapons. Okay, that's not what I thought it was. Never mind. Sorry, I thought that was the same thing.
But yeah, I mean, we know they sponsor terrorism worldwide, and we have seen them in several countries.
Yeah.
Why are you saying that they are not capable of moving people across the Mexican border or the Canadian border?
It's a
No, we're
reasonable
saying they're not
fear.
capable
Why would
of
they?
assembling a dirty bomb undetected and transporting it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that.
Or
It's a
or like an
reasonable-
equivalent.
They could get people through. Yeah, sure. That's
Do you think they could do an equivalent terroristic style attack here?
They were threatening to kill. They were trying to kill Trump. I thought in 2024, and the Biden administration went after them for it. Went after people they had in the country.
Yeah, your senator
Oh,
Gibbs,
wow.
your senator said that they're not capable of killing Trump. That they don't have the ability to even do that.
They got to Salman Rushdie.
Yeah, I mean the thing
Well, that
is
wasn't
we get to smaller and smaller attacks that they would be potentially capable of. Okay, so we can't do dirty bomb, we could do this. Okay, we can't do that, we could do this. And then you get to a point where it's just not worth it to do it anymore because like if some, terrorist attack or like very like, clearly Iran involved like mass death or like, tragedy event happen here, like that would absolutely get us involved regardless of Israel. And I mean, we kicked their ass in 3 seconds the last time. It might be a similar situation this time. So unless they're really going to get a big gain, I don't understand why they would even, try to do that.
Well, if they're on the
Also, Iran kind of knows that there's only so much we can do. Like, there's not going to be a ground invasion. They've got 90 million people, and
well, if they
don't
attack us,
border
if they
Israel
attack
anyway.
within our borders, you don't think we would invade?
No, they're not. They're not
Um,
going to. They're not going to do that kind of. At most, what they're going to do.
Well, it's not what the
is they're
Iranian
gonna
Parliament said.
Destroy the infrastructure around the Straits of Hormuz, like around the Gulf of Oman, around the UAE, places like that, and they can like hurt the global economy for a few months. They can do that. They've mined the Straits of Hormuz before as well.
Well, if your
They can do
regime
that
is
kind of
falling,
stuff.
you wouldn't be like, all right, send in the
They don't
boys
need to
in.
come
from-
over here to hurt us.
hold on. If your regime's gonna fall, like allegedly, like Iran's might, you wouldn't be
Uh-huh.
like last hurrah. Let's get them on their turf.
Lassero's taking out the Strait of Hormuz, destroying the world
Yeah.
economy. Like that's how they hurt the West the most.
Well, why not both?
Is by
doing
that.
Why not both? Like, are you acting like these are like you can't walk and chew bubblegum at the time that we can mine the Strait of Hormuz
Well-
and have activate our sleeper agents in the United States?
I don't think you understand like how badly they've been like discombobulated by Israel. They don't have the capabilities they had just a week ago. And even back then, even before all of those attacks, they didn't have the ability to do something like that. They just didn't. You'd have to
Yeah.
move that thing, not just
Well, so what
Across
you're
the
saying
border.
is Trump's Mideast policy is working because now the biggest state-sponsored terrorism has had their ass kicked by Israel, and that's going to lead to a more stable or at least less threatening Middle East overall. Would you agree
I
with
suspect Israel was going to do that anyway, but
that? You think
Israel
they
was
would've done
doing
it by-
things that Trump said don't do. They're like, we're going to do it anyway. So obviously, what? It's because
Yeah.
Trump is
their
here that
strategy
they're
is to do
doing
the opposite of what Trump says. Yes.
When's Q coming?
Who's Q?
Oh, we forgot about him.
You should know, Gibbs. Swear to God.
The homie. But
I-
yeah,
Is it a
Iran likes
QAnon
to
joke
just
or
like,
something?
Yeah.
yeah,
Zero.
they
know
like
what's-
to
Okay, go ahead, Kanye.
come out with these fucking play like they'll like raise their red flag of fucking revenge and they'll say tomorrow we're coming out with the fucking biggest thing. It's gonna knock your socks off. You're gonna piss and shit. It's gonna be crazy. And then we're like, huh, what was that? Like, what did they forget? Did they fall asleep? Like, they do this. They've done this in the past. They like pull up this big game and then they don't deliver. So I don't know how much capability they really have at the moment.
Don't you also think, Gibbs, though, like there is a chance that if Iran does actually do like a real response, like we could actually have a worse situation in the Middle East? Like, first of all, if Iran, if we did something real fucked and Iran actually fell into civil war, I don't like. Maybe you could argue in the long term that'd be good for the Middle East, but I feel like short term, I don't think that'd be a stability enhancing feature for the Middle East. And
Yeah,
I think
I
if
like.
Iran did like shut down trade, that
So-
seems like it would leave us worse off.
Well, to engage with what you're saying there, right? Like, yeah, if Iran falls into a civil war, I think, yeah, it would be kind of this thing where, yeah, the difference is it might be more unstable from the aspect of like, yeah, there's more terror groups, there's yada yada. Maybe the likelihood of any kind of individual rise of like a terror group would be bad or terror attacks would be bad. However, I do think the long term would be better. I also think it's more stable from a idea that now there's not a country that's going to be able to back these groups financially and like protect people within their borders, or have this tech to like give out to these people. Like it's gonna be a lot harder for the Houthis and the Hezbollah to have these kind of like resources if there's no one providing the logistical support like the Iranian Revolutionary Guard has been doing, or to provide the tech like their scientists are doing with the drones that the Houthis and the Hezbollah have been using, or the missile expertise. I think that'll like calm things down dramatically and make it force them to use a lot less like technical skilled things. You're gonna have like a lot smaller scale attack. Maybe like we go back to car bombings instead of launching rockets indiscriminately from these areas. I mean, I don't know if that's a pro or con, but it seems like they'd be less effective at a smaller scale overall. I mean, would you disagree with that statement?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know how to. I don't know actually, because I don't know what capabilities Iran has that are necessarily lost if a different if their equipment gets into the hands of terrorist groups and they don't have the same like logistical support. I don't like Hamas is able to fire rockets. Now they're not as advanced as Iranian rockets, but I feel like whatever terror group in Iran's civil war would be able to do a lot of damage as well. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a difference between the power between like even like quasi states and like ISIS and whatever, and like the actual state like Iran, and there's just a power level difference, like a legitimacy level difference. They can like do things like create like tax laws that are better for them. They can have like the oil production. They're able to like make alliances with other countries like Russia. Et cetera, et cetera.
Well, there is that. I don't know how likely this is. I would also be worried that like any strike on Iran would lead them to like actually try to do some like mutual defense treaty with China or Russia, which I don't know how likely that is, but I would be worried about fostering that relationship. But I mean, they seem to be allies anyway.
He's already
I don't know how big
basically
of a
said he's
concern.
abandoning Iran. He doesn't care about Iran.
Okay.
He used them while they were useful, and at this point, they're a liability. He's cutting them loose.
Nobody's really spoken up. China hasn't said much. All sorts of people are just kind of letting this happen. Oil's still flowing how it's supposed to and everything. Like, it seems like everyone's just like, all right, Iran, you're on your own. Fuck
Russia
up.
has no bandwidth to help anybody else. Like, they're
overloaded. They couldn't even save their fucking proxy from a bunch of rebels.
That's true.
Well, let's engage with this a little bit. I see Dylan in the chat. I actually messaged Dylan today and asked him what he thought the Iranian impact that would be going down on the say the Russian-Ukrainian war. We can even expand it more to something like BRICS. What do we think the impact of like the Iranian regime fall would be on like BRICS on the Iranian war? I know he said that some of the weapons that were going to go to Ukraine had been sent to Israel, I believe, and I know that I asked about maybe the drones, but they already have the factories in Russia, so that he didn't think it would matter there. Maybe he said long term it might matter. I feel like I'm kind of interested. What do y'all think? I think long term it would really hurt BRICS overall, and since BRICS seems to be lined up against us, that could be a good thing. What are y'all thoughts on this?
It might just become BRICS eventually if the I goes away.
Oh.
wait. Isn't the I India?
Yeah, I said India, I think.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
It wasn't around.
We got you. Got her. Clip it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I would.
Oh yeah, I forget about India because they're like just doing stuff over there and not involved in this conflict at the moment, or really like they're doing their own stuff with
Dealing with
Pakistan, but
Pakistan.
yeah,
Like the
and
United
kind of
States should
outside
be.
of our sphere.
Like the United States should be.
With Pakistan, I don't know about that.
Universe. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, what you say we should go get involved with the India-Pakistan war, Cal? Is that what you think?
I'm saying we should be universal isolationists. I'm just kidding though.
Wow, very Trumpian arguments from you there.
Because you're like, I forget about
Yeah,
India. They're just
well-
minding their business. I'm like, maybe we should mind our business. That was the joke.
I feel so embarrassed now because I thought of the stupid joke before I remembered what BRICS stood for.
It was
Oh
a
my
solid.
fucking
It
God.
was a solid joke. It was a solid.
It
joke.
would have been solid if it was correct, but I fucked my shit up. God damn.
I would be
Alright.
if we didn't have ICO. I probably would have let that slide and realized it later. To be totally honest, I know. I'm glad ICO caught it, but blame him. It's his fault for ruining a joke. I mean, do we think it'll have long-term impacts on BRICS? I mean, you're the anti-BRICS guy here.
Well, I mean, they're
not in BRICS, so yeah, it's not. But here's the thing. I think we can just look at Syria, right? Everyone thought, oh, it's great, Assad's gone, and now the current government of Syria, the United States wants to sanction them now because their leadership is, according to us at least, just as bad. So yeah, we got regime change, but it didn't get anyone who was any better, at least not according to this State Department.
Yeah, but they're a lot weaker, aren't they?
Iraq?
No, Syria, the new Syrian government.
Oh.
They don't
Oh,
have.
Syria, yeah.
They don't have near. They don't have near the resources that the Assad's have.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's not like they got leadership that was like any more friendly to the West.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think Iran will get weaker. Although I don't know how much weaker they are. Like, do you guys? I remember well, you guys don't remember this either. I keep forgetting how young everybody is. But in the 90s, during all of the lead up to what eventually became 9/11 and the opportunity of the neocons to finally go in and do what they wanted, they were saying over and over again that it's not enough just to go into Iraq and just bomb the hell out of them because it won't affect regime change the way you want. And even if you could kill Saddam, like someone just as bad would take his place, the only thing that could affect, regime change like positively would be ground invasion, boots on the ground. It's the only way to do it. And so now we're thinking that we can just bomb Iran even though they're protected by these massive mountain ranges all around them. There's just no way to actually go in there with boots on the ground and make the kind of regime change that Bush persuaded everybody we should do in Iraq and Afghanistan, well, especially in Iraq. And so I just don't know that we can count on Iran all of this. We have the Crown Prince in the United States. He says he wants to go back in because they killed his father in the Iranian Revolution. He wants to go back in and reestablish his father's rule. Like, there are attempts at that. I just don't think that any of that stuff is possible. You would need the support of the people, and the people of Iran, even though they don't like the current leadership that they have, they've been protesting against him for years and years and years, but they're not about to turn around and support Jews who are bombing the hell out of them in Tehran. They're not gonna support that sort of revolution. I think anybody who says, "Okay, I'm gonna take advantage of Israel's regime change policy to put myself in power," is going to be instantaneously hated by the people. So I just don't know if we're going to get the kind of positive regime change
I think I see a
of.
different scenario playing out. I think I see something similar to what Syria is playing out. Unfortunately, we fucked ourselves with one thing, right? And that's Afghanistan. Afghanistan, the Taliban looks like they're about to go to war. Maybe partially Pakistan. I guess they're tangentially supporting the Pakistan stuff. So it looks like they're trying to move in there in some areas. Looks like they're talking about going to war with their three neighbors who actually have a bigger military than I think it's Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, maybe one other. I mean, I could be wrong with the second one, but they're three stand neighbors. They're talking about going in there and clearing out portions of their area and taking it permanently in their control because of this water program they got going on. And I know they've had previous issues with Iran in the past that they border on. I could easily see the Taliban if Iran goes down, the Taliban making a power grab for not all of it, but different areas, kind of similar to Syria, where we have the areas that are on control of the Kurds. We have the Syrian whatever their new government held areas. We have the areas where Israel's kind of taking over portions, and like I said, this is what we're going to protect from the Alawites or whatever. I in Iraq, kind of where they had those different areas kind of take over before Iran kind of exerted its influence, along with us over Iraq. I think it's going to become more of the little fiefdoms. I don't see it ever going back to its pre-Iranian state where it's one country in the long term if it actually has serious regime change. I think they're going to have serious problems with the way it is. I mean, Saudi Arabia might carve up areas. I mean, I like their perennial powers. Y'all don't see anything like that, potentially?
I think it's very difficult. I think Iran is the only country in the Middle East, significant country in the Middle East, that's never been occupied. Alexander the Great couldn't do it.
Have you been occupied, sir?
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah,
he plays his cards right. He might get occupied.
Sat on my couch for 3 or 4 weeks before they finally left. Yeah.
I thought that was preoccupied. Oh, I got it.
Occupied and colonized, if you know what I mean.
Oh baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh baby. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what you mean, but it sounds. I don't know.
yeah.
Wasn't
Well,
paying attention.
well, this has been some kind of panel. I feel like we're running out of steam here. We're gonna go. This has not been my best. Give me a break. I won't lie, but
This
it's
is
been a fun one.
Agreement Thursday.
Yeah,
And
agree.
we all
Thursday.
agree on most of
Yay.
everything.
Yeah, I'm like, unless y'all have something y'all want to yell at each other about
I got something. Can we all agree Pentuple's a bitch?
for running.
Yes,
Bro,
Yeah. Thank you,
he
Pen, for running.
ran.
Making
Clip
it
it
much,
and ship it.
making
I
it much
think I vote Pentuple should talk to my goat Rinyold about January 6th, okay? I
Wait.
want
Oh, I
Right.
do want to
Right.
say one thing. You should have let Sansol run your channel, non-farm while you're gone, because you were going up on the views, and then you got JC in there, and it went down faster the whole on Nickel Night. Let me tell you, that was a bad
I
time.
don't actually. The first stream of JC did well. The second one did not. I don't know. I think it might have been because I was there for the first stream. I called in for a little bit. I don't know.
Might have a lot to do with it.
But it might have also. I don't know. Like I don't know if it was better to just not stream at all. If it would be better that it have at least a stream. I don't know. But
Yeah, if you're gonna have a disingenuous liar lead your channel, at least have him be entertaining like Sansol.
Amen to that. Let's get some closings here. Your final
Oh,
thoughts.
you got so many enemies. I don't understand.
Yeah, listen.
I'm just taking shots.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Listen,
don't like or hate
you can
anybody.
count how successful you are by how many enemies you have and how powerful they are. That's how you count your success, don't you know? I count. A wise man once told me that.
I know
It
that.
was-
yeah.
Yeah, it was a Sith Lord, but that's
I'm very
neither here nor there.
unsuccessful then.
Go ahead, Tyler. Take us away. Thoughts. Shout out where you're at. All the good stuff.
I'm at my house, and my thoughts are always correct. So if you disagree with me, I'm sorry that you're wrong, and maybe you could, take some notes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I count.
By that standard, we should all be wrong. If agreeing with Tyler is right,
I don't want to be wrong.
I heard Icow say twice tonight, as Tyler was saying, just pointing that out.
There's a movie goalpost. Kel, tell us where you are, what you do, where to find you.
January 6th was an insurrection. Hot take. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Yeah. No, I think it's like I think everyone should be. I think what everything comes down to is that our fucking media literacy, as I hate that word too, is at an all-time low though, and everyone should be very fucking skeptical of everything they consume from both sides.
Fantastic. So much. Non-fun.
yeah, I'm non-fun. I think January 6th was obviously unjustified and bad. I think the gains from trade and immigration are large, and you can watch me defend free trade and our democracy on my YouTube channel at non-fun and on my Twitch and Kick at non-fun420. Go follow me there.
Katya.
Were you in debate in high school? Just kidding.
I just, you know what I have to say. Nice talking to you guys. It's unfortunate that there weren't like too many actual righties here because, I feel kind of like cucked out of my chance to be able to be the one telling people, haha, you're just coping, haha, it's so stupid, over the fucking, the stuff with Kash Patel allegations that totally have outcome determinant voter fraud or whatever the fuck people are saying that it has to mean. So, darn, I feel cheated.
I mean, I feel cheated too. I was looking forward to hearing Katya yell. Couple little quick announcements here. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing the Iran subject a little more thoroughly. I got the biggest Iranian supporter of all time. We got old fucking Omar coming in. We're going to be quick with the channel mute and block screen to make sure we don't get TOS whenever he gets mad. And we're putting together Team America to yell at him. It's going to be very entertaining, and we're going to see how this goes. I'm pretty excited for it. This should be spicy content. We're going to have a lot of content next week. This week's been kind of chill. And then starting with Sunday, we're going to be doing Coach Stadium Show with Hot and Streamy. Going to be good stuff. Check it out. We're going to end this for now and come back shortly here to do some other degenerate things like gaming and slosh here in about 15-20 minutes. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Everybody bye. Say bye, everybody. Woo! Who's going to be streaming after this, by the way?
Going to eat tacos.
Oh, Cal's going to be streaming. All right, we'll raid
I'm gonna
Cal.
watch- yeah.
Chicken tacos?
No, turkey.
We have to get focused. Topics. Let's go.
Yeah,
Lock
yeah,
in.
focused. All right, yeah. So we'll raid out the Cal. Y'all be good. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll get back on the horse next week with a more organized topic this week, and maybe I'll make sure my righties don't leave me stranded. And we'll go from there. Thank y'all.
Typical.
Thanks for having us. We
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Talk to me.